that shit that you bump in the ride. Don't listen to lyrics, just fuck with the vibe. I can say anything you wouldn't mind. Like 10 pennies, I change up on a dime. I'm pretty diverse, got a good sense of just how much I'm worth. Just haven't been heard by that person preferred. This ought to do it, I need that referral. It's a cold world, I feel like Gucci go bird. Put on a sweatshirt like Earl. We fairly odd, our future is broad. PSG mob, ASAP, how we need all the guap. Got my dudes doing head nods. Yep. Anyone else is a deja vu of themselves. I can outdo myself on the next song. It cannot be done, you can ask my mom. I'm the prodigal son, I don't keep old flows, not one. I make a hit then run, stack my paper like a mailman truck. Because it's all about the funds now. My girls just wanna have fun.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode here on the Jaguar. I am your host today, Matthew Grieve. Originally, it was supposed to be myself and my beautiful co-host, Vanna White, also known as Josh Allen. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it tonight due to the hurricane being a jerk and knocking out his power. So, thoughts out to him. I hope him and his family are well and that their electricity comes back on swiftly. I remember a few years back myself, I had electricity go out in my house because of the hurricane, and it was not pleasant. It was actually out for several days. And having kids, no power is never fun. So again, hope Josh Allen, hope you and your family get some power back on soon, and we can have you back on. But today, you guys just get me, and that's okay. And today should be a little bit shorter than most. I missed this previous episode due to traveling, and so you guys didn't get to hear about my thoughts on the whooping that Duval put on the San Diego Chargers of LA. That's right. The San Diego Chargers of LA. But before we get started, I just want to have a huge shout out to our sponsor today of this podcast, Manscaped. Manscaped, who's the best in men's below the waist grooming. Also, they do some up here as well. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide, including myself, who trust Manscaped with its exclusive offer for you. That's 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code FANBATTLE at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 12 million balls and counting. So that's right. All you got to do is go to manscaped.com, pick anything out. Doesn't have to be anything specific, no exact dollar amount, and put in FANBATTLE in your code, and you will get 20% off and free shipping. Who doesn't like free shipping? So again, shout out to Manscaped. Appreciate it. And we'll leave that information here down below in the ticker for your consumption. So before I get into my reaction to this previous game, I do want to talk a little bit about what just happened today. It is Thursday, so there is a football game going on. The Bengals are playing the Dolphins. And as we all know, earlier this week, Tua Tagovailoa went down with a head injury, or so we thought, and came out of the game for a few minutes and what we believe to be a concussion, but he passed the concussion protocol and was able to go back in. And this week, the team downplayed it. Tua even downplayed it, saying it was a back issue. And he started the game tonight. And I think it's somewhere in the second quarter, he gets hit and thrown down the hard pretty violently. Football is a violent game, as we all know. And he got another head injury. And so it should be interesting to see the outcome of this, see what kind of the NFLPA has already stated that they want to investigate everything that's gone on there. They don't believe that he should have gone back into the game or started this week. So we'll see what comes out of that. I think some heads should be rolling. I get it. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Each team is invested sometimes billions, whether it's in the stadium or in the players. And so at the end of the day, they want to have their best players out on the field to give them the best chance to win, because more wins means more money, right? bottom dollar. But we're talking about people's lives here. And with Tua getting not one, but potentially 2 head injuries within a 4-day span, that you're playing with someone's livelihood there. And so it'd be interesting to see if the NFL even takes any action, and if they do, how in depth do they go? Do they play the good old boy system where they cover it up essentially and kind of just dust it under the rug and let everyone forget about it? Or do they do a full-on investigation and to see, did people knowingly put Tua Tagovailoa back into the game and let him start tonight, fully knowing that he had a head injury and a potential for another head injury could severely hurt him? So who knows? We'll see what comes out of it. It didn't look pretty. You can go on the internet and find what it looked like, but it wasn't pretty. So thoughts and prayers out to Tua Tagovailoa, and here's to hoping that heads will be rolling and people will be held accountable for what happened tonight. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. So you see me sitting in my beautiful room here. This is actually the clubhouse. Yes, the clubhouse, the AFC South clubhouse. This is where division leaders are allowed to spend their time in between jobs, hanging out, tickling the ivory over here, and just enjoying life on top. And that's where the Jaguars still see themselves after week 3, after demolishing the Chargers. Now, I'll be honest, all of last week, and I think even in the podcast, I had stated my thoughts. I thought that the Jaguars weren't going to win. I feel like the Chargers, coming into the offseason, they had a really great team. And all the additions that they made in the offseason just I mean, people had them slotted for the Super Bowl, right? I mean, they've got household names on both sides of the football. And so as good as the Jaguars had looked coming out of the Colts game, I was still hesitant on picking them as the winners, potential winners against the Chargers. And but in the last minute, my heart changed. And actually, I went into my phone and went into one of those betting apps and actually put some money on the Jaguars to win. And lo and behold, the Jaguars made me a lot of money. It was $25 that I put down, but I put my money where my mouth was in the end. And the Jaguars made me rich out of it. $80. Thank you, Jaguars. But it was interesting. As we all know, there were a lot of injuries. Herbert was coming to the game injured, but you know, it's football. Again, it's a violent game, as we saw tonight with Tua. What player on the field isn't playing hurt, in pain? And plus, it was Justin Herbert's decision. He wanted to tough it out, and I'm sure he got some awesome shots before the game that helped numb the pain. And he was out there slinging the ball. I mean, we saw he was slinging the ball with the best of them still, even with those hurt ribs. But as the game carried on, we saw Joey Bosa got out of the game. And as we all know, Joey Bosa is one of the best players, not just at his position, but in one of the best NFL players currently playing. And so he got knocked out of the game. But even then, they didn't have their full wide receiver core. But again, even without having everybody on both sides of the ball, they were still a very stout team. You still had Derwin James out there. You had Mack out there. Asante Samuel Jr. was out there. So they still had players out there that could make plays. So I'm not chalking it up. The Jaguars went to an injury-riddled Chargers team. The Jaguars put it to them. They put it freaking to them. And let's pull up some of the stats real quick. So we win 38-10, right? So even if you put Joey Bosa back in the game, is he going to count for 28 extra points? I don't think so. Even if, let's say, he keeps us scoring 14 points, right? So that puts us down to what, 24 to 10, and say they had all the wide receivers. Maybe they get another touchdown, 2 more, 17. So either way, in the end of the day, I think we were the better team. Obviously, we were the better team that day, and I think we still would have had a good shot even if they were fully healthy. But here, looking at some stats, I think what's interesting is James Robinson has been such an interesting story from the Jaguar standpoint. He had an Achilles injury not too long ago, and just from the eye test, I feel like he's come back stronger than before the injury, which is crazy. Now I think his average yard per carry is about where he was before, but I feel like the 50-yard touchdown run that he had in previous years, he would have hit that hole and he would have probably gotten 35, 40 yards up the field and probably been caught. This time, I think if that same play had happened 80 yards away, I think he would have made the whole 80 yards and got the touchdown. So James Robinson has been a delight for us Jaguars fans. Travis Etienne, now these are just my thoughts, and really we're only 3 years into his NFL career. I'm not too impressed. I would like to see more out of him. I understand on the ground game with James Robinson just killing it like he is, there aren't as many carries out there for Etienne. I would like to see him catch more out of the backfield. He did have 3 targets for 30 yards, and so he is performing on that in that aspect, and that's kind of what they drafted him for, anyways. Evan Ingram and Zay Jones. Let me tell you guys, Evan Ingram. When we picked him up, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you guys are picking up a washed-up tight end." I don't think people across the NFL realize how horrible. So the everyone knows the Jaguars have been horrible. We've picked number 1 overall the past 2 years in a row. But in the tight end position, we haven't really had a true threat at the tight end position since I could remember. Mercedes Lewis he was a solid player, but he was never that threat, right? He was serviceable. He had some good years, some good games, but overall, he wasn't really a threat to most teams. I think Evan Ingram coming in this season was already going to be one of our best tight ends in Jaguars history. Now the stat sheet didn't pop off the stat sheet like crazy yesterday or this past week, but he was making impacts and blocking, and I think just his threat to catch the ball is always there, and the team has to focus on that. So I think on the receiving end and the ground game, I was very happy with what I saw. There are 3 touchdown passes, all 3 different receivers. So we had Zay Jones got 1, who has been delightful. Christian Kirk got 1, and Marvin Jones Jr. So, and then we had 1 rushing touchdown. So that has been great to see. Our defense, man, they were awesome. They were awesome. I think Devin Lloyd is going to be a force to reckon with here in the future for the long term. Trevor Walker, again, he didn't pop off the stat sheet, but his presence was felt. He was always around the ball, around plays, and that's all you can ask of a guy, right? Josh Allen, 4 QB hits. I'll take that all day, every day. We only had 1 sack, and that was from Smoot. But QB hits overall, we had 6 QB hits plus the 1 sack. So we were getting at Justin Herbert. But I think that San Diego, I keep wanting to call him San Diego. I think the Chargers had game planned in a way that I am missing all these comments. He shows movements after having okay, so he shows fencing movements after having an injury to the brain again. From Chris Norton. No, so I think the Chargers had game planned around Herbert's injury, knowing that the Jaguars are going to come after him and want to hit him and test those ribs. And so what you saw a lot were quick passes. I think Justin Herbert is a really good quarterback anyways. He's smart, and the coaches don't need to tell him to get the ball out quick. He knows. And I think that happened a lot, but the Jaguars were still getting at him. And I was surprised at the end of the game. I know not everybody feels the same way, but at the end of the game, I think it was like 5, 6, 7 minutes left. There was no point in him being in there. All they were doing was potentially going to have him get hurt and out for who knows how long and get more injured. So that was interesting. And then we destroyed their ground game. They had 26 rushing yards. 26 rushing yards. And I know we were up for the most of the game, and by the end of the third quarter, we were killing them, so they kind of had to abandon the run game. But still, early on, we stopped their run game. Our offense took advantage of that and scored points, which forced them to throw the ball. And Justin Herbert still got his own. He threw for 297 yards, almost 300 yards. He had one touchdown, one interception. His QBR wasn't very good. Now, this is ESPN's quarterback rating. He was at a 39.5, whereas T-Law was at 71.8. So significant difference between those two. But, like I said, I think Justin Herbert, he's a really good quarterback. He's smart. He's got an arm. He's accurate. He could throw it over the mountains like Uncle Rico. And, yeah, he didn't have his best pass catcher out there. But with a good quarterback, he'll get the ball in their hands, right? Look, Austin Eckler, he had 8 targets and 8 receptions. Now, he didn't have a whole lot of yards, but he was still a threat. I think another thing that we did really good on defense is Jared Everett. It looked like he was going to start to get going, and we were able to stop that connection between Herbert and him. I thought he was going to be a threat throughout the game, but we were able to shut that one down. Their defense, like I said, even with Bosa out the game, they have people all on that defense. With Bosa out, they still have one of the better defenses in the game, in my opinion. You got Derwin James out there, Khalil Mack, Asante Samuel Jr. The list goes on. So I don't want to hear this crap about Bosa got out and that's the only reason Jaguars won. No, we handed it to him, and we would have handed it to him anyways with those, I firmly believe. And I think from the coaching standpoint for the Jaguars, I think the coaches, he has been such a breath of fresh air as a Jaguars fan to have a coach that is competent. People like to say he's professional and brings a very business attitude to it. It's just they're calling the right plays. They've got a great game plan. All the pieces are just fitting together, and it just feels great as a Jaguars fan to see that. It helps to have what I still believe to be generational talent in Trevor Lawrence, having some offensive weapons and defensive weapons. I think everything is just hitting on all cylinders. Now the injury bug hasn't hit us, knock on wood. Let's hope it stays that way. But I still even think if the injury bug were to hit, I believe in our coaches to make a right game plan for us to win. So all in all, a great game, fantastic game. And if you look at the power rankings, it's Thursday now. If you look at the power rankings this week, we're kind of all over the place. I've seen some people put us in the top 10. I don't know if I would go that far. We'll see. We'll see what happens if we can get the dub out of this next week against the Eagles. My co-host Josh Allen and I will be doing a game preview later this weekend with the Eagles, who are another team that is rolling, and we'll see if we can stop them or maybe they can stop us. It'll be, I think, probably the premier game of the weekend. And other than that, I think that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys swinging by. Again, check out our sponsor, Manscaped. Here we go. Manscaped.com. They have been a wonderful sponsor to us, and they have amazing products. I myself, and I'm being 100% honest, I've been using their products for years now before they even decided to come on with us. And they're great products to use. All you got to do is go to the website, type in at checkout, type in Fan Battle. You'll get 20% off your purchase and free shipping. I don't think people realize how much money that is. Typically, when you're ordering offline, there's at least like a $9.99 shipping and handling fee. So there you go. You're getting about $10 off right there. And then 20% will cover essentially your taxes and then some. So great deal. At least try them out once, and I guarantee you'll like it, because again, I use it myself and I absolutely love it. But that's it for this week. Jaguar fans, AFC South fan battle. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you when you get hurt. What do you mean who? You? Oh, wait, what? Are you talking about Theo White says nobody's going to feel sorry for you when you get hurt? I assume that has to be for you're talking about Tua? Yeah, I think he's talking about Tua. Yeah. I mean, they're going to – oh, you mean if the Jaguars get injuries? Yeah. Yeah, there we go, man. Yeah, as far as the Jaguars injuries go, the only concern I have is our depth. I'm not sure how deep our roster is. Fortunately, again, knock on wood, we haven't had to test that. But I think our starters will, I think our true test, in my opinion, this game coming up next week, we're going to cover more later this week. I think for me as a fan, this might be one of our biggest games in franchise history. One of, not the. I mean, obviously the Patriots game and the AFC championship game was massive, right? I think this game right here is up there with it. And if we win it, I think each game moving forward will continue to be a massive gain in the franchise history. And we'll really get to see as the year goes on who we really are as a team. But until next time, us Jaguar fans will look down upon you peasants of the AFC South as we enjoy our time here in the clubhouse as division leaders. Until next time, Duval.